A beggar lived at a railway station in a city. He survived by begging from the passengers traveling on the trains that arrived and departed from the station. One day, while he was begging, he saw a tall man dressed in a suit. The beggar thought, "This man looks very rich. If I ask him for alms, he will surely give me good money." He approached the tall man and started begging. The tall man looked at him and said, "You always keep asking for things. Do you ever give anything to anyone?" The beggar replied, "Sir, I am just a beggar. I always ask from people. I am not in a position to give anything to anyone." The tall man said, "If you cannot give anything, then you have no right to ask for anything either. I am a businessman, and I believe in transactions. If you have something to give me, only then will I give you something in return." Saying this, the tall man boarded the train and left. The beggar kept thinking about what the man had said. His words deeply impacted the beggar. The beggar realized that perhaps he did not receive much alms because he never gave anything in return. But then he thought, "I am just a beggar. I have nothing to give to others. How long will I keep asking without giving anything in return?" After much thought, the beggar decided that whenever someone gave him alms, he would give something in return. But then another question arose in his mind. What could he, as a beggar, possibly give in return? He spent 2 days thinking about this, but could not find an answer. On the third day, as he was sitting near the station, his eyes fell on some flowers blooming on the nearby plants. He thought, why not give flowers in return for alms? He liked this idea and plucked some flowers. Then, when he went to beg on the train, he started giving flowers to the people who gave him alms. People happily accepted the flowers and kept them. Soon, he noticed that more and more people started giving him alms. Every day, he would pluck flowers and distribute them in exchange for alms. When he had flowers, many people gave him money, but when the flowers ran out, so did the alms. This continued for some time. One day, while begging, he saw the same tall man on the train, the man who had inspired him to give something in return for alms. The beggar quickly went up to him and said, "Today, I have something to give you. If you give me alms, I will give you some flowers in return." The tall man gave him some money, and the beggar handed him some flowers. The tall man smiled and said, "Wow, what a change. Today, you have become a businessman just like me." Saying this, he took the flowers and got off at his station. But once again, the tall man's words struck the beggar's heart. He kept thinking about them and felt immense joy. His eyes sparkled with realization. He had found the key to success that could change his life. He got off the train, looked up at the sky, and excitedly shouted, "I am not a beggar. I am a businessman. I too can become rich." People saw him and thought that perhaps he had gone mad. The next day, that beggar was nowhere to be seen at the station. 6 months later, at the same station, 2 well-dressed men were traveling. They saw each other, and one of them extended his hand and said, "Do you recognize me?" The second man replied, "No, I don't think we have met before." The first man smiled and said, "Think again. This is actually the 3rd time we are meeting." The second man, still puzzled, asked, "Really? When did we meet the first 2 times?" The first man laughed and said, "We met twice before, both times on this very train. I am the same beggar to whom you once refused to give alms, and the same beggar from whom you later bought flowers." The second man was astonished and said, "Oh, now I remember. You are the beggar I once refused to help and later bought flowers from. But tell me, where are you going now in such a fine suit? What do you do these days?" The first man replied, "Yes, I was that beggar. But today I am a big flower merchant. I am traveling for my business." After a short pause, he continued, "You taught me the rule of nature, that we only receive when we give something in return. The rule of transactions truly works. and I have experienced it myself. But I always saw myself as a beggar and never thought beyond that. When we met the second time, you told me that I had become a businessman. That was when I realized why people were giving me so much alms, not because they were giving charity, but because they were paying for my flowers. In the eyes of others, I was a small businessman, but in my own eyes, I was still a beggar. Your words made me realize that I was no longer a beggar. I was a merchant. With the money I earned from giving flowers on the train, I bought more flowers and became a flower trader. People here love flowers, and their love has made me a successful businessman today. Both businessmen were now happy. As they got off at the station, they continued discussing their businesses and walked ahead together. This story teaches us a valuable lesson. The tall businessman understood the universal rule of give and take. All great entrepreneurs succeed by applying this principle in life. The beggar adopted this principle, and it transformed his life. He changed his mindset, and his life changed accordingly. The story teaches us that if we change our thinking, we can achieve anything. If we always see ourselves as small, we will remain small. To grow big, we must think big and believe in ourselves. The essence of the story is that success lies in our mindset. Have self-respect, think big, and watch yourself reach the heights of success. If you enjoyed this inspiring story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Wisdom Woods for more such motivational stories and life lessons. Stay tuned for more wisdom that can transform your